Right, my latest little project is to do with a couple of lambs which I've just gone and bought. Now the idea of having lambs as they are now, or sheep as they will be, is to save me spending so much time mowing this grass. It's nice having all this grass and everything. I do like it. I wouldn't go flagging it all over just for just to make life easy. But the mowing does take about 2 hours, and it's got to be done pretty much every 2 weeks to keep on top of it. It's starting to get a little bit long now. Normally I'd have to mow out on this, but because I've got two spring lambs, I'm hoping that they will just run riot all over this and keep it down for me. Now the thing is, I want somewhere, because they're only about 15 days old now, and they're being hand reared partly, so I'm needing somewhere for them to go and get out the cold at night, because it does get cold here in the UK at night. And a lot of people say you should keep them under cover for up to 6 weeks if they've not got their parent sheep to keep them warm, the mother. So they're just basically huddle up together now. So I'm basically considering building what I will call a sheep ARK. You might see more commonly things called pig ARKs, and they're basically like a curved topped structure, very much like an Anderson shelter or a small aeroplane hangar. So the idea of having something that looks a little bit like an Anderson shelter actually appeals to me slightly, due to me liking World War II stuff quite a bit. Now I did toy around with getting corrugated iron or corrugated galvanized steel and bending one out of that, but the steel's potentially quite hard to bend. In fact, the Anderson shelters, which were made during World War II, came pre-formed, and they were just bolted together and constructed, so and they were made out of quite a heavy grade of steel, whereas the ones if I was making it today, I'd probably just try bending it myself and make it out of thin galv steel. But anyway, what I've come up with is a plan B, which is what a lot of people are making animal shelters out of these days, and it's this recycled plastic. And this is the 6mm version of it. You can get it in a number of thicknesses. 9mm was going to be my other option, and I went and checked out the 9mm, and when I picked it up you could hardly bend it, unlike this 6mm. So my idea is, this is a little bit flexy, I agree, and potentially the 9 might have been the better option, and just spend a little bit more time trying to flex this into shape, But the thoughts are, I'm going to basically make it with a 4-foot square base to it, because this is actually a 4-foot by 8-foot sheet approximately. It's probably in the metric equivalents, but it's like a 4x8 sheet. Now, so the idea is I'm going to make a channeled steel square, and then I'm going to bolt 2 sides of the recycled plastic sheet to this channel. So I've got to cut 2 of these, just about 4 foot in length, then another 2 which are, let's say, these are about 40 odd mil thick, these. So I've got to cut another 2 which are 8 centimeters shorter than 4 foot, and then weld them in between at the 2 ends. Now what I'm going to do at the 2 ends, because you don't just leave it an open arch at both ends like a tunnel, what I'm going to do is I could have gone and bought heavier recycled sheet and put that in the 2 ends. In fact, if you basically cut an 8x4 in half, that will give you 2 end pieces. So what I've done is I've gone and bought some 18mm plywood, an 8x4 sheet of 18mm thick ply, and I'm going to cut my ends out of this stuff. Right, so what I've done is I've made my square. It's just under 4 foot across this square. Might think it's a bit small, but I believe the average domestic, if you can call a farm sheep domestic, domestic sheep is 3 foot tall. Now the apex of this dwelling place, sheep ARK, is going to be a shade over 3 foot tall, and it's basically, it's not somewhere where they're to go and watch TV and listen to music and stuff like that. It's just somewhere for them to get in at night, huddle up fairly close to each other, and sleep till the morning, and occasionally to get out the bad weather. So I'm hoping that this is going to do the job. So what I've actually done is I've done it 46 inches. Let's see, I think we'll call that 46 inches on the width. That way it's bringing the top fractionally higher, the apex of it slightly higher. One of the reasons I've done it that way, let's see, yeah, there was another reason, but I've also taken the length not to 4 foot. Reason being, I want the actual plastic of the shelter to extend past the front and rear slightly. Obviously I'm putting 18mm plywood on each end of this uni-strut, so I want the plywood to be underneath the sheltered area and not sticking out, stuck on the front where the rain's going to get into the end grain of the ply. I think you get the idea. So basically I've done it under 4 foot, this subframe, if you want to call it that. Yeah, so these things fit inside this channel, and the spring, which is quite often a bloody nuisance, locks them like that. Then once you put your plate, whatever you're working with, wood, in this case plastic, you can see I've put all the screws along there. The question I'm going to have here is whether the screws will actually tighten up sufficient, or whether it's just going to pull the plastic into this gap. If it starts to do that, then what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to put a metal plate or strip of wood on the outside to act as a clamp arrangement, so that the plastic just doesn't pull in. At the moment I'm just going to try using washers, and I'm going to hope that me putting them every 7 inches along there is going to work out. Okay, so what I've done is I've put my bolts in, I've tightened them up. Now what I have done before doing this, I realised the screws I was originally using, which were about, I don't know, 12, 15 millimeters long, they weren't long enough, so I've opted for some bolts which are more like about 30 mil long, and it makes the job a lot easier fitting them into the channel. Now I've just done one side, and on the other side I've just put a clamp on each end, and you can see the sort of result. I would say it's only a small thing, it's really like a large dog kennel. In fact, a lot of dog kennels probably are that size. What I've just done now is I've flipped it on top of my plywood sheet. Basically it's an 8x4 plywood sheet cut in half, so I'm basically going to have that as surplus. So I'm just going to, basically I've dumped it onto it, I've tried to knock it about left and right a little bit to make sure it looks fairly evenly distributed. So I'm now going to get a marker pen and draw my line in there. Yeah, so basically I need to cut 2 ends pretty much identical, I would think. If we look at it from inside, there we go. We can actually get in here. Look at this. Look at this. Yeah, that's what it's like. This is what it will be like to be a sheep. Yeah, you know, a couple of mattresses in here, and they'll be alright. You know, once these ends are in, it's going to hold up to quite a bit of a battering. That'll take care of what the British weather's got to hammer at it anyway. Yeah, quite pleased with that. Better get out of it. The neighbours will be wondering what I'm up to. Mind you, they normally do. What we need here is some model Spitfires parked up in front of it, just to add to the whole effect, I reckon. Anyway, that's enough of that. I've now stain varnished the 2 ends, and I've screwed them on. I've used 4 roofing bolts each end. It's just about looking alright now. You can see the general look of it. It's looking pretty okay. Now what I'm thinking is I'm going to put a brace or 2 braces between the 2 ends to hold the plywood together at the top, and I'm sort of thinking in the moment that I probably won't have to put any bolts through the plastic skin. What's that, Stel? Coming to see the sheep ARK, are you? Hey? Do you like the sheep ARK? Do you want to test it out before the sheep? probably do, don't you? Okay, let's see. We'll put this down. No, you're not supposed to go in that way, Stella. Should have closed the door on that one. Do you like it then? You like your new house? Yeah. Yeah. Yes, I do. Yeah.